What's going on, family? This is David W. Williams, the online traffic expert and the founder and owner of Digital Underground Online. And so we're going into part two of characteristics of an entrepreneur. And what we're discussing is the success characteristics of an entrepreneur. So we really introduced what we were talking about in part one, and we're transitioning now into part two. And we want you to understand is what are some of the characteristics that you're going to need to possess to be a successful entrepreneur. You look at the guys on the front of this screen, Reginald Lewis, Steve Jobs, Damon Johns, and even Andrew Carnegie. They all had similar success characteristics. So let's go ahead and examine those. So we're going into character and competence. This is very important to me. This is probably one of the most important success characteristics for me personally. And it is, can you be trusted? Are you a trustworthy person? Are you an honest person? Okay. Because just being a trustworthy and honest person can be your USP. It can be your competitive advantage if you're in a marketplace with so many dishonest people. Do you stand on your word? Is what you say your word? Do you stand on it as a man or as a woman? Or do you change what you say and change what you stand on every 2 to 3 months or every other minute or every other day? That's very, very important. Do you speak plainly? Okay. Do you have candor in your conversation, or are you one of these ambiguous speakers similar to a politician in which when people talk to you, they don't really understand what you said because you're intentionally trying to be ambiguous because you feel like that's the best way to communicate with people? That's very much a character issue if you can't speak plainly. Do you give credit when credit is due? When somebody accomplishes something, do you give credit to them or do you try to take away from their accomplishments? That's very much a character issue. We're going into character, the competence part of character and competence. Do you know what your responsibility is and do you know how to execute? Are you aware of what you need to do and do you know how to execute it to make sure the job gets done? Do you get it done? Do you make excuses or do you just get it done? Do you figure out what do I need to do to fulfill my responsibility and how do I make it happen, and you go and make it happen? And do you take pride in your performance? Is getting the job done the right way something that you personally take pride in? Is that important to you? The next particular characteristic is seeing through the fog, or see through the fog. And that really means that, you can make effective decisions because you can see how things really are. You have the ability to critically analyze the situation, to analyze the information properly, and make decisions based on seeing what things really are, what is actually going on in the situation. You understand that what you want to be true may not be true. Many people are misled in life because somebody tells them what they want to hear as opposed to what is actually going on. And then they in turn want to believe, they believe what they want to hear. So they believe a particular thing. Somebody gives them that same information. The information could be incorrect, but because it's what they want to hear, they believe it. So being able to see through the fog is understanding that what I personally may want the situation to be, it may not be anything like that. And I have the ability to cut through that fog and see what's actually going on. Always scouting for great talent. You always need to be on the lookout for someone who can help your team win. What's the one person that can put your team in the championship game and help you win the championship? Understanding that the best employees are normally already working for somebody else. If somebody really is bringing a certain level of talent to the game, not unless they're fresh out of college, usually somebody's already snatched them up. So you need to understand what can you provide to that person to get them to leave their situation and come join yours. And then we go into the best teams win in business, not the best ideas. You could be one person with a great idea and no team, and you're going to always get beat by the team that doesn't have necessarily great ideas, but they got the best team. The best teams win in business. So what we talked about is some of the characteristics of success characteristics of entrepreneurs. And you really need to understand this because these are the kind of things that we're really not taught growing up. That we go into business and we don't understand the particular characteristics that we need to possess. And it's one of the reasons why we're not successful. It's one of the reasons for the high failure rate of so many small businesses is that the business owner doesn't have the proper information to even understand how he needs to proceed forward. So be on the lookout for part 3 of this particular series. This is David W. Williams, the online traffic expert and the founder and owner of Digital Underground Online. Peace out.